Welcome to Basketball Heads Live. I'm your host, Glenn Pooh Harding. And tonight, we have a very special guest. This ball player was an All-American and first-team All-City out of Bishop Loughlin High School, where he was a legend. He also went on to shine at Seton Hall University. Did his thing there, too. Help me welcome my guy, James Majors. That's right. And tonight's sponsors are Styles by Nita, Unique Creations, and our special sponsor is Game Over, the #1 grassroots program in Brooklyn. Oh, let me say that again. The #1 grassroots basketball program in Brooklyn. See, I'm rocking it. My guys rocking it. That's what we do. We doing business with our people. You know what I'm saying? And we got some special prizes and giveaways coming up soon. So please, stay tuned. And oh yeah, let's start the show.
Y'all ready? Yeah. You have just stepped out into the world of chaos. Where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. East Coast. Go hard. West Coast. Go hard. Midwest. Go hard. Dirty. Hurry up, everybody. Get online, buy your tickets, cause the game about to start.
What's up, homie?
How you doing today?
Oh man, I'm great, man. I'm great. I'm in good spirits. You know, can't let the devil get you down, man.
Oh, most definitely not.
He always pulling at your coattail, waiting for you to make the wrong move. But I'm a thinker, so you know I play chess, not checkers.
Exactly.
But I'm glad to have you on, man. Listen, I remember being a freshman at Lincoln, and we scrimmaged y'all in '83. And it was just like, man, watching you and Silk just go at it back and forth, jump shot for jump shot, layup for layup, and willing to battle each other. You know, a lot of these guys don't like to hold each other, man, but salute to you, man. Those that the first glimpse I had of you before I even saw you play, I just used to hear your name. But in '83, when we scrimmaged y'all, definitely, fam.
Yeah, because I know Silk and Spice, those were my two guys.
Yes. So what I like to do before, when everybody come on the show, is just like to ask this question is, who introduced you to the game?
Well, the first time I remember watching basketball, I must have been about 10 years old, and I walked into my mother's room, and I was like, "Mom, what are you watching?" She was like, "Oh, this is basketball." So I just sat down and started watching it, and ever since then, I've been hooked.
Wow. That's crazy.
Also with the fact that I have 17 uncles who all played ball, so it was just in the genes.
Yeah, somebody had to get it, right?
Somebody had to get it.
So where did you grow up at?
I grew up in Brownsville, Howard Houses. And I went growing up there for anything. I know it's a little crazy there now in Brownsville, but when I was there, all we did was just play ball every day, all day long.
Wow, that's real. I was reading an article where they said, you know, you grew up around Jerry Ice Reynolds and Pearl Washington, those guys.
Right, because a lot of times when guys come home from school, they look to play in these tournaments, and it's tough to find a tournament that was sanctioned for the NCAA. So when I came home, I just went straight to the park. World Be Free, Jerry Reynolds, Pearl Washington, Phil Sellers. Couldn't get any better competition than that.
Those are your trainers right there.
Exactly. If you can't learn from them and excel against them, who can you learn from?
That's right. My guy, CEO Entertainment, said, tell James, John from Kelly Park said, what up?
Hey, what's going on, John? Long time.
No doubt.
Get to Brooklyn one day. If you guys still play up there in Kelly, I'm going to come up there and teach y'all a few more lessons.
I bet you they'll love that.
And tell the Boney brothers I'll have them lined up like the first time I came into the park. Because I'm going to tell you a quick story. I went to Kelly Park for the first time. These guys didn't know who I was. It was these brothers who thought they was running the park. So each one of them wanted to take a shot at guarding me. I was in the park from about 3 o'clock that afternoon to 10 o'clock at night, busting the brothers up. They all wanted to keep, nah, let me take it, I enjoyed it. To this day, I've never let them stop hearing about it.
That's right, man. You got to keep letting them know, man. You put it in. Especially two brothers. Come on. You figure one of them had to get you. You get both of them. That's bragging right.
It was 5 brothers. And they each wanted to take a shot. So I had to let them. This is my first time in the park, but if I step foot in your park, I'm coming here to run things.
That's right.
That's the mentality.
That's what it's definitely about.
I'm making this my park.
So I'm definitely going to let guys know, because I have a few guys that grew up playing in Kelly as well. Definitely. So what was the first team you was on?
First team I was on, organized, was New Bed-Stuy Elementary School. And it's funny because back then, I had this math teacher. I was like, this guy's real cool guy. Never knew it was Ernie Dowse.
Wow.
Never knew. He was always humble. Never even told me that he played ball. He used to always just tell me, stay on the right track, do the right things, and things are going to happen good for you. Never knew until after I graduated, he was the great Ernie Dowse, New York City legend. Wow.
Look at that. So you already had an early basketball angel touching you already, early.
And didn't even know it. I was blessed.
Those are the best times.
I was blessed early.
Listen, you named some of the ball players that came out of your neighborhood, right? Who was the best in your neighborhood?
The best. Well, that's kind of tough because obviously the ones that I stated, but if you look at the ones, because I've had Terry Greenwich, who went to Xavier University, graduated from Westinghouse. Kenny Wooten, who played at Boys High. Derek Givens played at Boys High. There was quite a few players in the neighborhood. The list is too long, the list.
Yeah, I figured, because you already had played against some greats already, right? And all these guys were the best of their era, right? And their time. So that's crazy.
And all these guys, like I say, every single guy in my neighborhood all played high school, college ball. So every day in the summer, that's all we did was play ball from sun up to sundown, all day long. That's all everyone wanted to do was play ball.
That's all we had right there.
But unfortunately, because I'll ride through the old neighborhood and see they don't even play basketball in the parks anymore like they used to, and that's sad.
The parks are empty.
Parks are empty.
They could have left the hoops off because the parks are empty.
Well, the parks might not be empty, but they're not being utilized what they were meant to be utilized for.
Oh, yeah.
And
True. That's a super fact. That's a super fact. So you growing up around all these guys who played in the PSAL, why didn't you go that route?
Well, it's funny because when I was at graduating from middle school, I was supposed to be taking this test to get into Catholic school, but I didn't know about it. So I was going to end up going to Westinghouse. But my sister was over there in Loughlin, so my mother took me up there to speak to the principal. He said, okay, let me see your report card. I'm fortunate that I was an AB student. It's like, oh, so you have some good grades, so we're going to let you come on into Loughlin. So that's how I actually got into Loughlin, just because my sister was already in there.
Wow.
Other than
had nothing to do with basketball.
Nothing to do with basketball. Academics got me into Loughlin.
As it should. Definitely as it should. So who did you look up to as a ball player?
Well, back in the day, my favorite player was George Gervin. That's why Pat tried to name after him, and then people started calling me Ice.
Okay. I see that on some tags. They definitely do.
Because I always wanted to pattern myself. Because I know the first time I saw him, I don't know if you remember back in the day on Saturday nights, they used to have the ABA games on with the red-white basketball. And I saw the Nets playing against San Antonio. I was like, who's this guy giving Dr. J the business like this, giving him 40? Next time, that's George Gervin. Ever since then, that was my guy.
Wow.
And
The great Iceman.
I also had that iconic poster. I wish I still had it, where he's sitting in a chair of ice with his.
Oh yeah, definitely. He popped Nike off with that one.
Yes, I think that was the greatest poster ever invented.
Yes, that was the one. The mother load.
Everybody wanted the Iceman poster.
Did you ever hear that Spencer Haywood story?
No.
With Nike?
I don't think no, I'm not familiar.
In 1973, when Nike was first starting out, they probably started out a couple of years before that, but like in 1973, Spencer Haywood was the #1 player in the NBA. Right?
Okay.
And Nike approached him and said, you know, we're starting back, you know, company starting out. We want you to be our sponsor. We'll give you $100,000 or 10% of the company.
Wow, he took the 100,000. Didn't have
definitely. Yo, you won the prize, man. You definitely won the prize.
I could see that coming.
Yeah. And that 10% I think is worth $3 or $4 billion today.
Easily. That might be a low number too.
Okay. So it's crazy. You think back the opportunity some of our ballers had to be in placed in situations. And now we get to learn from those lessons. Hopefully a lot of guys who are in these positions now don't make the same mistake.
Yeah, it's good to know your history and to educate yourself so that way you don't repeat the mistakes that was made before you so you can learn from them.
Yep. So you went out for the freshman team?
Well, when I was at Loughlin, my coach, Patrick Quigley, he had a rule that you couldn't play varsity until you were a junior.
The great Patrick Quigley, yes, definitely.
I couldn't play, and now the reason why Mark Jackson and Billy Wheeler and those guys got to play a third year is because just before the season started, we had about 4 or 5 seniors got kicked off the team, so he brought those guys up from JV. So that's why Mark had that third year on varsity. Otherwise, he would only play 2 years on varsity.
Wow. That's good. And I talked to Kenny, and can you go to a place where you got a little bit more light? I was talking to Kenny, yeah, there you go. I was talking to Kenny, and I was thanking his coach, you know, rest his soul, for not playing Kenny the first quarter because we got a chance to beat him up at Glen Falls. Kenny Anderson.
Right, at Malloy.
At Malloy.
Jack Curran.
Right, Jack Curran, yes. So, you know, these coaches got these specific rules. Right, that they have and they stick to, you know. So how did it go your freshman year?
Well, freshman year, we won the Brooklyn Queens championship, and I averaged about 25 a game in my freshman year. And then in my sophomore year in JV, we also won the Brooklyn Queens championship, and I was scoring 30 by then.
Yo, hold on. Let's back up. You moving too fast, fam. The numbers are smacking me all in the face. They beat me down. Your freshman year, what you do?
I was averaging 25.
And you got the Loughlin on grades.
Right.
People, y'all hearing that? He didn't even go to Loughlin to play ball. He went there because his sister had some clout and he had some grades. Put himself in a situation, 25 big ones. Then the next year.
Then when I was on JV, I averaged, it was actually 28 a game on JV. Because Quigley wanted me to play varsity, but he couldn't go back on his rules, so I understood that. Because he was a stickler for the rules. Because I'll never forget a story. When I was senior, we was playing against Cardinal Hayes. They was #1 in the city at the time. And we were supposed to meet up at Loughlin at like around 12 o'clock. So I'm to get there. I'm on the subway, and I actually missed the van. I ain't know how to get to Hayes, so I'm asking people, yo, how do you get to Cardinal Hayes up in the Bronx? So I finally got there before the game started. Because I missed the game, Quigley came into the locker room and let everybody know he's not playing in the first quarter. He didn't make the van, so he's not playing the first quarter. I ain't think it was my fault, but I understood the rule.
That's crazy. Wow.
There was some young players sitting there saying, oh, you know you're going to start anyway. I looked at him like, you guys must not know Quigley. And as soon as he said that, Quigley came in there and said, you're going to dress, but you're not going to start until the second quarter. And funny thing, we was down 21-2 in that game. In the first quarter, down 21-2. But at halftime, when I came in, it was 35-28. We ended up winning in double overtime. I'll never forget that game. Ended up winning in double overtime.
This is crazy. So you kind of changed everything after that.
Right.
Wow.
And I was saying that I'm a victim of the times, because I was saying I wish that they had the 3-point line when I was back in high school. I ain't have it alone. I ain't have it until my junior year in high school, college.
Yo, first of all, I want to salute to Gerald Green. He in the building. Salute Gerald. He in the building watching. Yeah, he got signed on today. That's right. That's right. I'm glad he ain't watching.
Way back before even the Seton Hall days, we go way back.
Yeah, man. Listen, speaking of that 3-point shot, that's all you guys were shooting when I watched you guys play against us my freshman year. They were definitely mostly all long balls, because we had a big team.
Right.
Right? We had Damari, we had Kenny Parker. So you was taking advantage of that and kind of just dealing with Silking them and Spice and Darren on the outside, right?
Right, exactly. And
that's crazy.
Because I would say 80% of my shots back then would have been behind the 3-point line. Because I know I was the only junior at Loughlin to actually score over 500 points in the season, and then I was the only player to actually score over 1,000 points in 2 years, because you only could play varsity for 2 years. I'll be saying, well, I wish they can add up all of my points, freshman and JV as well. I'd have had about.
That'd be crazy. And I think they do that at other places in other states as well. I don't know why they don't do it here in New York.
They only count your varsity numbers. That's it. If it's not on varsity, it doesn't count.
All right, my guy John was wanted to know, how was your time at 5-Star?
Well, I actually love going to 5-Star, because that was just a chance to go and play against the best in the country. Because I'll never forget, one year, my senior year, just before school was going to start back up, in the All-Star game, it was myself and Kevin Walls. I don't know if you remember him from Camden. Went to Louisville, and we played.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Played against John, and God rest his soul, Ed Davender, in the All-Star game.
Wow. Who won?
And I might be a little biased, but I felt I should have gotten the MVP of that game. I had like 20 points. I only missed like one shot. But I don't know if you remember Herman Hareed, who went to Dunbar High School. And Coach Wade actually came up and was smoozing with Tom Kinchowski and Garfinkel. And I saw them talking together. I was like, I'm not. So they gave it to him, because he had like 2.
Wow.
But
that's crazy.
But it was a great experience there, though. Seeing now, when you go against the guys like the best in the country, you know you can hold your own. You know, when you get back to school, you know you're going to tear the league up.
Now that's going to be my next question, right? Who else did you bust to let you know you was ready for prime time?
Actually, in the summer, because World Be Free used to always want to play me one-on-one. So after I was able to hold my own against him, I was like, I can play against anybody.
Wow.
He always tell me, he's like,
that's definitely a test right there.
Because he used to always tell me, he said, you a little lazy in your jump shot sometimes, because you have like a 40-inch vertical, but you don't utilize it. He said, when you see me shoot, I'm up in the air. So I started incorporating that, and I would just shoot over smaller guys.
Wow. Because he got way up in the air on his shot, and he held it back here, so you wasn't touching it.
There was no way to test it. So you just had to hope that he missed. I used to always tap him on his elbow and said, that's not he used to let me get away with that, though.
So who are some of the guys of your team once you reach varsity?
The Whaler brothers, Kenny and Billy, Octavio Gooden, Anthony Allen, James Foreman, Mark Jackson, Charles Temple, Ernesto Wilson. So all these were great guys, and we all got along well together, because Quickly had another thing that he liked to do. Before the season started, everybody had to spend the night in the gym. That was team bonding. So no TV and everybody just talking, team bonding.
That's a great idea. Coaches, take notes. That's a great idea. My coach Bobby Harstein used to take us upstate, and we would stay with the opposing team's family, and they were white families, but just so we can see how the other side lived if we never saw that, right? So we got to see it firsthand. It was a different kind of experience. But I think, you know, having a night out with the fellas, a small camp in the gym, definitely unites people and brings a brotherhood.
Yeah, because that built that camaraderie. Because once you have it off the court, you know, on the court, it's just like real. Everything's just real smooth and natural.
Most definitely. So, who do y'all beat the city championship, and who do y'all beat the state championship?
Well, for the cities, it was St. Peter's from Long Island, where they had. I don't remember Greg Payton.
No. There was St. Peter's. It was St. Peter's from Staten Island.
Right, Staten Island. That's what I missed.
Because they are the only team to win a city championship from Staten Island.
Right.
There's like a small documentary that Kenny Smith, I think he narrates on end. I think Kenny did it, right. And they beat Kenny that year to go against y'all.
And it's funny because the coach from St. Peter's actually ended up coaching me at Seton Hall, Howie Rupert.
Wow. That's crazy.
And then when we won the state championship, we had beat North Babylon. It had Derek Brower, who went to Syracuse, Russell Pierre, who went to North Carolina State.
Right.
But they had a really good team, but we actually blew them out in the championship up in Glen Hall. I think the score was like 102 to like 79 or something like that.
Wow. It said
by the third quarter, the game was pretty much over.
Yeah, it said, my boy Rick said, they beat my boys in the upstate St. Agnes with Billy Donovan, my best friend, Frank Big Red.
I remember Billy Donovan because I remember quickly telling us, he said, pick him up 5 feet above the hash mark. We ain't believing he hit like 5 in a row on us. So we have to start playing this guy.
Yo, listen. Somebody do it with a jump shot, and you know, we can make you a believer quick. Right? Definitely.
Not many people going to shoot from that deep with consistency. They'll jack it up, and not going to be knocking them down.
So besides yourself and the guys that were on your team, who are some of the best players in New York City at that time?
Let's see. Derek Chivas, John Johnson, Mel Kennedy, Richie Simmons. A lot of people forget about this other guy, Alex Broadway, who played at Christ the King High School. Who else was there? Joe Franco. Chris Mullen's brother, I forget his first name, from Severian. John Mullen. So there was quite a few good players that was back in the CHSAA back then. Yeah,
and like I said, I heard your name so much, I thought you went to public school. I was like, you go to Loughlin? Oh, okay.
It actually turned out, I think, I might be biased, but I think we may have had more talent in the CHSAA than the PSAL. I could be biased, but
listen, listen, we should do a tally one day. We should sit up, get like a private call or whatever, and do like a little tally up. We can do that.
We're definitely doing that. Because I think some of the guys did, because they had Bug, they had Eric Johnson, but they had some good, Elmer Anderson, they had some good players in the PSAL.
Oh, are you talking about in your era around that time?
Right.
Listen, we always thought in the public school that you guys got way more pub than us, right? And a lot of times we would battle in the wheelchair classic, right? Because that showed the competition in the city, right? You had the wheelchair classic and the Golden Hoops. But then a lot of the teams were mixed up, public school and Catholic. So there was never really a public school, Catholic school clash.
Exactly. But I always remember they always said that Jackson had the best backcourt. They had Boo Harvey, who was Ron Edwards and Doug Harris. So we played against them in the Monsignor King tournament. And I was like, oh, so these guys are supposed to be the best in the city. So I gave them 41 that game. because after the game, I sat next to Boo's mother. She's like, "You can't sit here. You're the one that scoring all those points on my son. You got to go up on the other side of the court." So we had a little laugh about that.
Wow. That's crazy.
But that's how you go up when you know that somebody's supposed to be quote unquote better than you. Those are the ones you go up against them. That's how you really figure out, can I really play against these guys?
Not like going up against the best, man.
Because I know some guys.
Go ahead.
Some guys like to shy away from the competition, but anytime I go to a park, who's the best one? I want to play against him.
You always came up wanting to hold the best player. Coming up, I always held the best player. You know what I mean? I always wanted to hold the best player. It wasn't any fun. I wanted to go where the action was.
Right.
Right? And the action was always with the best player.
Because he's going to have the ball in his hand most of the time. So you're going to be in.
Let's go. Let's see. Right? So I know, look, I always said the three guys that really gave me the business my whole life. Lloyd, and I shared that with a couple of us. Anthony Mason and Mike Morrison in college. So those are the three. And I always say it, and I'm waiting for hear somebody else who can tell me anything different. But anyway, let's move on. Who was your toughest competition, right, when you was coming up? Who was your toughest competition in high school that you said?
I would say the toughest for me may have been John Johnson because he was just so crafty with the ball. Now, I met John, he was in 6th grade. I remember Keith Hardy brought him to one of our practices. I'm looking at this, I was like, who is this kid palming the ball in the 6th grade? John had hands the size of Dr. G's, and he can do all types of with that ball. So I always respected John's game. He always gave me fits. Wow.
Salute to John. He'll be on Wednesday. That's right.
I definitely have to be on the head of my board.
And my guy Joe Green, now that he's on, he will definitely be on tomorrow. Appreciate that, man. So now you're moving on to college, right? And you're trying to make a decision where you want to go. Who was all the schools that was recruiting you?
Well, I'm Pittsburgh, Boston College, DePaul, Marquette, Seton Hall. Those are like the 5 that I've narrowed it down to. And it's funny because I wanted to really go to DePaul because at that time they was #1 in the country. When Joey Meyer came to speak to me, he said we're going to have 13 national TV games my first 2 years. But again, this is another Quigley thing. He said, do not sign early. So you could if you don't sign in November, you have to wait until April to sign. So I told Joey Meyer, I really want to come, but it's like, since there's no guarantee, we can't really hold that spot if somebody want to come. So I'll never forget this kid named Randy Pettis from Mississippi. 2 days before I was going to go visit, they said that he wanted to commit, so they signed him. So I missed out on going to DePaul. So then after that, I said, well, the Big East is the best conference in the country right now. So it's definitely going to be a Big East school. I ain't want to really go someplace that was already established. So I figured Seton Hall was an up-and-coming program. I can come in and compete for a starting spot my freshman year. So it was just an obvious choice for me to go to Seton Hall at that point.
Cool. So did you went on all your visits? Did you go on all your visits as well?
I took all my visits. I actually, I don't want to say wasted one because one of my friends from Howard Projects went to Xavier at that time. And he said, yo, if you come take this visit with me, they're going to do a little something for me, but I shouldn't go on record and saying that. So I took a little visit out there just to help my boy out a little bit. And it's funny because the coach that was recruiting me there ended up at Syracuse anyway. Morgan.
Wow.
I mean, well, his last name was Morgan. I forget his first name. Assistant coach for Syracuse.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Did somebody try to use you to get them a better situation? Did he? He didn't wind up going there anyway, right?
Exactly.
That's crazy.
I'm the firm believer that everything happens for a reason.
Definitely. Definitely.
It was meant for me to be at Seton Hall. Like I say, I was once Martin Solly signed from Pennsylvania, then Mark Bryant signed from New Jersey, and I was like, oh, they're gonna have a foundation there for the future. They have the 2 big men. I could come in as a guard, and we can try to, put Seton Hall on the map.
That's real. That's real. So, you get there. How was the team?
Well, the team wasn't that good, and I said to myself, I was like, they brought me here for a reason, because the guy that was starting at the point at the time, Mike Jones, he's going to be a senior. So I just made it a point. I said, I'm going to make it where he's going to have to start me. I said, I'm going to just destroy this guy every day at practice, so he's going to have to put me in the lineup. So by the time the season started, I was wearing a blue jersey, because the blue, where's the in practice, you having a blue jersey, that means you're a starter. White was the guys off the bench. So I was humble back then. So every day I came out, I had on my white. PJ is like, no, flip your shirt over. You're a starter. What are you doing? I was just trying to be a little humble at that time.
Oh, okay. How did your freshman year go in your early seasons?
Well, the freshman year went well before we got to the actual Big East season. So we know you played a lot of the cupcakes before then, but I'll never forget our very first Big East game was against Georgetown, right after they just came back from winning the championship. I'm sitting there on the layup line, then I start seeing Patrick Ewing come out, David Wingate, Reggie Williams, and I'm like just sitting there almost like an awe, saying, I'm just sitting there watching these guys on TV just last year, and I'm getting ready to play against these guys. It took me about 5 minutes to get the butterflies out, because basketball is basketball. But once I got all that jitteriness out of myself, I was good.
Okay. So who won?
Oh, they blew us out. I ain't want to get to that part. Like I said,
my bad. I kind of knew that, right? I kind of researched from early on.
We only won about 3 Big East games. We was getting it handed to us, but that was a good experience for the future.
And I know early on, like your freshman year, y'all kind of had some little roadblocks, but then you started to come into your own your sophomore and junior year. Tell me, how was that?
Yes, because I know in my sophomore year, which was almost like a waste of year, because in preseason we was having a scrimmage game and I tore my ankle up. I was out for like maybe about 2 months, so I really didn't have too great of a sophomore year, because I was pretty much banged up and I never fully recovered from that ankle injury. But then I went back to the park and I said, I'm coming back stronger than ever. And then when I came back as a junior, I was scoring 20 against everybody.
Yeah, you definitely tore up your junior year, man. You're just tearing through everybody. And then your name started ringing bells again, because, we started hearing it back here in New York. And so I definitely know you was doing your thing. How did you feel get your confidence back after an injury?
Well, it felt good, because again, like I say, I went back to the lab, which is Howard Park. Once you go back there, you do your thing over there. You're ready for anything. So that was the confidence right there. Right.
So was Gerald and them guys on the team when you was a junior, senior?
Well, Gerald came in when I was he was only 1 year behind me, so he came in when I was a sophomore. Gerald was only 1 year behind me. Gerald, John Morton, Darryl Walker came in at that time, so we had a good team by then. Because all those guys came in was all New York City, all state, so we had a good roster by that time.
Okay, good. So what year was it that was it after your senior year where they went to the Final Four?
Right, because in my senior year we lost to Arizona in the second round, so we played against Texas El Paso, which had Tim Hardaway at the time in the first round. Then we lost to Steve Kerr and Sean Elliott in the second round that year.
When you look back at it, did you enjoy your time at Seton Hall?
I tell people, if I could go back and go back in the time capsule and go back and spend time, it would definitely be back to college days. It was nothing like it. Nothing like it. But with the camaraderie with your teammates, the traveling, the competition that you had, it was just a great time, great experience.
So what was it like for you guys to travel? Give me like one instance for what you guys had to do or go through, like pre-game meal and travel, if y'all had like a big game somewhere.
So if we had a big game, it depends. If we were playing at home, we would have like an early shoot around, and he'll let everybody just relax, get to the arena about 2 hours before game time. And everybody just pretty much sit back, relax, listen to music, talk. But on the road, it was different. So he was real strict then. So We had to make sure that we had to eat at least 3 or 4 hours before the game. Then by the time we got to the arena, again, he may not let us listen to as much because he felt we wasn't as focused on the road as we were at home. So he cut out all that music in the locker room before the games unless we were at home.
That's crazy. Yo, one of the things my guy always say, yo, Pooh, ask him about the meal money. I was like, I remember those days. I don't be asking everybody about their meal money. Yo, listen, people.
PJ,
I know it was different on all levels. Tell me about what you guys.
Now remember, this was back in the 80s, so this was a lot of money for us back then.
Yes.
We would get $5. That was the
what?
Now,
what?
Now the only time we got more than
that got to be home game.
Now home games we may not have gotten any because we used to get a voucher to go down to this place called Mr. Sub, but he ordered some pizza for us.
You said $5?
$5. That was enough to go get you a sandwich. But now
come on. I went to Fairleigh Dickinson. We got we got a couple of, especially on a road trip, we got at least $300-400, sometimes $500, $600.
The only time we got more than that when we was in the Big East tournament, that's when he would pull out the cash.
Wow.
Like we was in the city.
This could have been a regular away game and this was happening. So let me tell you something my coach explained to me, right? I don't think I ever talked about this on the show. My coach explained to me that we was going to play Wake Forest. And he was very excited. And I was like, they could play, we could play, so what? We going out to try to win.
Did they have?
He said, no, Glenn. Excuse me?
Was Derek McQueen on the team at that time, point guard?
No, they had Anthony Tucker. Anthony Tucker was on the team and Rodney Rogers.
Okay.
Right? So he said, no, Wake Forest just gave our school $80,000. That's for travel. This is the business of basketball. Travel expenses and for you guys meal money. And then we, put some money to the side for some other sports. I said, you serious? I thought y'all just play each other. He said, no, this is a business. He said, the reason if we lose, they're going to be upset. And this is where the word upset come from. There's no upset in pro sports.
Right. Wow.
Blew me away. Blew me away. And I was just stuck. I said, this is how it works? He said, yes, whenever we play a bigger school in a bigger conference, they pay for wins. That's what they do. So you said in the beginning of the year when you played on rinky-dink teams, y'all was paying somebody to play.
Exactly.
Just you guys get better. It's a win-win. The other team gets somebody to come, get the ass kicked.
Exactly. Get some exposure. But now you have.
And the NCAA is a tax-free nonprofit organization.
You have me feeling bad about this meal money situation. Now I feel like I've been cheated.
You've been cheated. Now I went to Fairleigh Dickinson, right? Seton Hall is a much bigger school, and this is from 88 to 92. Trust me.
And it's funny because PJ had a name for a $5 bill. He called it a fin. He said, give everybody their fin. And everybody was talking about.
They was partnering that money.
Oh, he was doing something because I used to see him with a wad of cash sometime. And this guy, Mike Murphy, used to be a security, have his gun right there in his little holster. And every time PJ pulled out that money, but he wasn't peeling.
Hold on. He had security with a guy who could carry a gun?
Yeah, he used to have it in his ankle band. Every guy was with us, Mike Murphy, security. He
pocketed that bread. I'm telling you. I went to Fairleigh Dickinson. I could vouch. I could bring my guys on here. We look forward to having meal money. It didn't make a difference what level you was on. Everybody got the same amount.
My roommate and I, Kaim Long, that went to Stevenson, what we did, we were roommates for 4 years. I used to always make sure he brought the TV. I brought the refrigerator and the microwave. We used to, whatever we had in the from the training room, take it back to the room, heat it up at night to eat it for dinner.
That's crazy.
Now, that's one thing I could say. Seton Hall wasn't one of those schools that was paying their players. That's one thing I could say in their favor.
We weren't getting paid. It was legal. That's part of the program, right?
As far as the meal money, because like you say, if you're calling it meal money, you can give them a little bit more than that. Come on. Now.
Yes, I'm telling you, that's the business of basketball. My coach, Tom Green, explained to me that when bigger schools play another school, there's money exchanged. Yes.
Yeah. That's the one negative I could say about, the meal money.
Yo, listen. Yo, Rick, my man Rick Coon from Wagner, right? We was in the same conference. How much do you guys get for meal money? Somebody said, Tooth said, D3, we got $30. Yo, James. This is my boy Tooth. He the coach at Brooklyn Collegiate High School. Salute. $30, that D3 at Westbury.
I'd have took that at
$5?
$5.
That's crazy.
So you think if there's 12 players on the team, he only had to put out $60 for that day.
No wonder he always had a wad of cash.
A wad of cash. Only time
that's great.
If we went, maybe it's like we went to Hawaii or someplace like that for a road trip like that, then we might get 25.
25. Whoa, that's crazy.
That's the same thing I was saying. That's what we're going to get.
Whoa, that's crazy. That was definitely a basketball head's mind blower right there. That just threw me off.
But I want you to strike that from the record. Right.
So listen, right? All in all, you had a decent career at Seton Hall. What did you do after that? Did you take your talents overseas?
Yes, because actually, right after although I wasn't drafted, I was invited to the camp with Atlanta Hawks, and I'll never forget it. We was going to have camp on a Tuesday, so I get to Atlanta on a Friday, and I was staying with a friend. Next thing I know, these guys talk about, come on, let's go to the gym. Nah, I ain't come here for that. I'm getting myself ready to go to camp. Nah, come on, we're just gonna go mess around for a little while. Sure enough, guys know who I was. The guys that can't play, uncoordinated. Guy sticks out his foot. My foot lands on his, tear my ankle up.
Wow. My
ligaments was messed up for like 2 years after that. Because the doctor said I would have been better off breaking the ankle because my ligaments.
Yeah, definitely.
A bone could heal easier than the ligaments. So that was the end of that for the Hawks for that year. But then
yo, my God, Spice is on here. Spice said, yo, Seton Hall was robbing them guys.
Yeah, Spice was my roommate. He was my roommate at the Manhattan College basketball camp, Athletes for Better Education camp.
Okay.
That's my guy.
Yeah, Spice definitely another legend, man.
I don't want to hear about no meal money stories.
Nah. I'm about to give you another story, right? Because Rick just gave me a quick info real quick. Talking about my coach. My coach also was the coach who gave also allegedly, let's say allegedly, John Hot Rod Williams that $30,000 in the shoebox. Remember that scandal back in the days? And Tulane and destroyed their whole program. And then that's when he went and came to Fairleigh Dickinson.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. So maybe we probably was getting a little bit more we didn't know. That was great. My man Tooth, who went to Bishop Loughlin, he said, I was in a freshman team at Loughlin when James was a senior. We used to ride the A train home.
I remember those days.
Yes. My God, too.
Well, it's so hear these things just to reminisce and think about things that you did in your past, because you always want to keep that prevalent.
Yeah, man. I think sometimes people forget. I talk to a lot of young guys, and I ask them questions about guys who came before them. Like I told you before I really started getting serious at ball, I knew who you was. right? When I said I would start playing basketball in high school, I had to know who different guys was and who they were, how their games were, because I may run into them one day.
Right.
Right? You never know. And you just want to know your history. That's how you become a student of the game. And that's the difference between somebody who plays basketball and a ball player.
Exactly.
There's
Also,
a difference.
I forgot to give a shout out to my first backcourt mate at New Bed-Stuy Junior High School, Michael Messiah. I want to give him a shout out.
Yes. Yo, let me tell you. That's, I don't know if I ever met dude before, but he's been very supportive, man. He's always been supporting basketball heads from the beginning and always throw me a bone every now and again. And like, yo, G, check this guy out. Yo, G, maybe you want to hear, his story. And I respect guys like that. You know what I'm saying?
He's a great guy. Because we were together.
Nah. Salute to my man, Mike.
Then he actually moved to North Carolina and ended up going to Laney High School. And I'll never forget, because he came up to me one day and said, I'm getting ready to leave New York. I was like, so where you going? He's like, I'm going to North Carolina. I was like, why are you going to North Carolina? Well, my mother wants to move out there. So next thing I know, he tells me, he said, but I want you to listen out for one name for me. He said, remember this name. He said, Mike Jordan. I was like, who's Mike Jordan? He's like, he's going to be a senior at Laney. And it ended up being Michael Jordan. He was the first one that ever told me about Michael Jordan.
Wow.
I'll never forget that conversation.
So Mike, you are definitely an official basketball head, fam, for sure. That's crazy, man. And thanks again, Mike. I appreciate you. You got me Lamont Long, who definitely has some great stories, and yourself. So I appreciate you being here. Have you been keeping up with New York City basketball?
Well, actually, because I actually had moved out because I was living, once I had stopped playing ball, I became a school teacher in Newark. And I was living in Newark up until last year, so now I'm up in Pennsylvania. But I still try to keep up with some of the games and keep up with some of the guys.
What's been your perception of New York City basketball as of late?
Well, I think it's too much with the AAU teams. It's not as much team-oriented as far as like your high school teams. Everybody's thinking about playing on these AAU teams and not really giving that dedication to their high school teams, which that's the signs of the times now. Because I know when I was coming up, I played with the Madison Broncos for 1 year with Doc Naselli, and that was the only time I played AAU. That 1 year with
me too. I played with Doc Naselli as well.
Dwayne Martin Shake, who ended up being a movie star. Whoever would have thought that.
Listen, let me tell you. I was in the Empire State team with those guys, with him, Rod, Dal Middleton, Derek Chivas. Derek was my roommate. And we had two characters on that team. The first one was Shake Martin. He used to be singing these Frank Sinatra songs and doing these acts from television and doing these lines. And we was like, he's like, yeah, I'm going to be an actor one day. We was like, whatever. Then we had Prime Minister Pete Nash, who went to Columbia, right? He used to pull out his black book, the phone, and show us like KRS-One number, Run DMC number. And we was like, you faking that. You ain't gonna be a rapper. That next year, they put out an album on Def Jam, and he had the whole Empire State team on the back of the cover.
Wow.
And then, you see what happened with Dwayne. Next time I see him, I'm an extra on above the rim. And he's a star.
Because I know the first thing I used to see him on a couple of commercials. The next thing you know, like you say, he was on the star above the rim.
There you go. And we see each other laugh, and I say, yo, go figure. Right? But listen, that's why you never stop people from dreaming.
Exactly.
That's all we have. That's all we have until they become reality. And all it takes is that little glimmer of hope for somebody to believe in you.
That's all it takes for that person to believe in you.
That's right. Thank God for your sister for being that Bishop Loughlin. You probably could have just been another run-of-the-mill if you was in PSAL somewhere. You could have, been another guy who scored 40, but you became James Majors and did it in a different way.
Yeah, exactly.
So, last two questions. I think it's, last three. Who was the best high school college, and pro you played against. 3 people. The best high school, college, and pro you played against.
High school. High school, I would have to say Ed Davender, because Bug was tough. And then after him, I would say, I don't know if people remember Curtis Aiken. Played upstate.
Yes, definitely.
Pittsburgh. Curtis was tough too. College, hands down, it was Pearl Washington. And pro has to be World Be Free. It would be the 3 top.
For sure. For sure. That's real. So, brother, I saw you the other day. We chatted for a little bit, did a little test, and I was like, damn, James still look like he's 20 years old.
Well, I still tell the kids. I used to always tease the kids when my classes. I'm gonna let somebody beat me when I'm 50 years old. I'm 54 now, so I stopped playing.
That's real. That's real. How do you stay in shape and healthy these days?
Well, I have a Fitbit, and I think that's the best thing I ever purchased because it makes me get my 10,000 steps in a day. So I do a lot of walking, try to eat healthy, because once we get a certain age, you have to really start taking care of yourself. Because I used to play ball. I was living in New Jersey. I used to play ball on Sunday mornings, but these guys were like horrible. So I just started doing my walk. I think I get a better workout by just walking around.
Especially when you're a ball player and love the game. You don't want to just be playing. That's how you get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Because I always end up leaving out of there hurt.
So with all this knowledge and experience you acquired from the game, did you pass it down to any of your children, or do you have children?
Yes, I have 3 girls and 1 boy. But my boy, he was never really into sports. He's the type that'll end up owning a basketball team.
Got you. That's what's common. We need more black owners, definitely.
He's the academic in the family because he's always on the dean's list. So he's a great student.
Salute, my brother. Salute.
Can't knock him for that because I never tried to push anything on him. If he wanted to do it, that was going to be great. So he's into his art and he's very creative. So I just let him run with that and support that.
That's dope, man. So listen, we at this point in Basketball Heads, we ask our guests to nominate someone to be on the show. And you can nominate someone to be on the show, right?
Okay.
And this is what my dude was doing in the back. This is what my dude was doing in the back while we was talking.
Okay. That's not, you said he just did that?
Yep.
Wow. You got some talent there.
Oh, yeah. And he a ball player, too. He played for Coach Granby at Jackson.
Is there any way I can get a copy of that?
Yo, brother, I'm going to send it to you. I got you.
Okay, I really appreciate that.
This is for you for being a guest on the show, brother. We appreciate you, man. And all the things you did for New York City, my brother. We appreciate you.
No problem. I appreciate that.
No doubt. This is what we do for our kings and queens here at Basketball Heads. Show our love, show our appreciation, and let them know that their name still means something in these here streets.
Yeah, because people need to see that there's more than all this black on black crime. We need to get away from that and start supporting each other more as a black community.
Yes.
We need to all start to come together and support one another with something positive.
Always starts here. That's why me and my guy from Game Over. He's going to support me, right?
That's
rocking the shirts. You know what I'm saying? He got a basketball camp here in Brooklyn. They got a gym. It's called the Sty Dome. They run games and tournaments. We're going to be doing some giveaways soon. You know what we do here at Basketball Heads.
Oh,
so, yes, definitely. Stay tuned. And thanks for joining us. My man, James Majors, I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, too.
You know what I'm saying? Think about who you want to be on the show, man. You think should be on the show, brother.
Oh, definitely. And
you know what I'm saying? Definitely get definitely a New York guy on the show. Somebody that everybody want to talk to. And listen, brother, everybody want to share their story, man. So tell them to come over here to Basketball Head.
No problem. No doubt. Definitely.
Appreciate you, my brother.
Okay, be good.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.